प्रभु।
हरे कृष्ण, दंडवत प्रणाम माता जी।
प्रभु।
हरे कृष्ण माता जी, दंडवत प्रणाम।
हरे कृष्ण प्रणाम।
हरे कृष्ण माता जी।
हरे कृष्ण उमा माता जी। यस।
हरे कृष्ण माता जी।
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Yes. Somebody can start with the opening prayers.
माता जी, shall I?
Yes, Mataji.
ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्वाभिदं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकथा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सगगण ललिता विशाखान्वितांश। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी विषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा माता जी, सॉरी।
Hare Krishna. Today we will be seeing second chapter, 38th verse. Sukha dukhe same kritva labha labhau jaya jayau tatho yuddhaya yujyasva naivam papam avapsyasi. Yes, please recite the verse, whoever would want to.
सुख दुखे समे कृत्वा लाभालाभौ जयाजयौ तदा युद्धाय युज्यस्व नैवं पापम् अवाप्स्यसि।
I'll read Mataji. Sukha dukhe same krutva labha labhau jaya jayau dado yuttaya yudyasva naivam pabam avapyasasi.
Hare Krishna Mataji, may I?
read Mataji.
Mataji, may I?
Same kritva labhalabhau jaya jayau tato yuddhaya yujyasva naivam pabam avapyasi. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
Yes, read Mataji, who were asking.
Sukha. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yeah, read. One more Mataji.
The volume is too low. Volume is too low.
लाभालाभौ जयाजयौ ततो युद्धाय युज्यस्व नैवं पापमवाप्स्यसि। हरे कृष्ण।
Hare Krishna Mataji. Sukha dukhe same kritva labhalabhau jaya jayo tato yuddhaya yujyasva naivam papam avapsyasi. Hare Krishna Mataji.
हरे कृष्ण माता जी। सुख दुःख समे कृत्वा लाभालाभौ जया जयौ ततो युद्धाय युज्यस्व नैवं पापम् अवाप्स्यसि। हरे कृष्ण।
The volume is too low, Mataji.
समकृत्वा लाभो जया जयो तथा युद्धस्य नैव पापम अवाप्स्यसि। हरे कृष्णा।
Yes, Mataji, who is saying the volume is low? Mataji,
Yes,
can you hear
Mataji,
me
it
now?
is very low.
Volume is okay, Mataji. Volume is okay.
Mataji, I think you have to raise something in your phone or something, because for everybody else it's okay, Mataji.
Yeah,
it's not.
It is okay, Mataji, for us.
You just check. Maybe you have to move from somewhere. Or
it is okay. Volume is okay.
Yeah, just check, Mataji, if there's something in your thing. Yeah, anybody else wants to?
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah, please chant.
Sukha dukhe same krutva labhalabhau jaya jayau tato yuddhaya yujyasvam naivam papam avapsyasi. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes.
हरे कृष्ण माता जी।
Hare Krishna. Yes.
सुख दुखे समे कृत्वा लाभ Labha,
Labha alabhav.
Labha, Lamau,
Labha
Labau,
alabhav. No, Prabhu, it is labha alabhav.
Labha, Alabau,
Yeah. Jaya jayo. Ajayo. Yeah.
Jaya, Jaya. The word is gone, madam.
Yes. Tato yudhaya yujjasva.
Tato Vidyaya Ujjasva,
Naivam papam.
Naivam papam avapsyasi.
Naimam Papam, Amapasyani,
Avapsyasi.
Apapasyani.
Yeah.
Shall I read, Mataji?
Yeah, please read.
Sukha dukkhe same krutva labha jaya jayau tato yuddhaya yujyasva naivam papam avapsyasi. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
So now we'll go to the word to word.
Krishna.
Yeah, Mataji, read Mataji.
It's all right, Mataji. I can't see it, and couldn't see it on WhatsApp either.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Sukha, happiness, dukhe, and distress, same, in equanimity, kritva, doing so, labha, alabha, both profit and loss, jaya, ajayo, both victory and defeat, tataha, thereafter, yuddhaya, for the sake of fighting, yujjasva, engage, fight, no, never, evam, in this way, papam, sinful reaction, avapsyasi, you will gain. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Do thou fight for the sake of fighting without considering happiness or distress, loss or gain, victory or defeat, and by doing so you shall never incur sin. Now, we will see what Krishna is trying to say here. If you go back to the previous verse, what have we seen there? Krishna is saying that both ways it's going to be beneficial for you. That is, if you get killed in the battlefield, you will attain Swargalokas. And if you win the battle, you are going to enjoy the kingdom. And you will get name, fame, glory, and things like that. But when he's speaking in this particular verse, he's saying that just fight for the sake of fighting. Don't think of happiness, distress, victory or defeat. In the earlier verse, he spoke from victory point of view. He spoke from defeat point of view. But here he's saying, don't talk about or don't think about all that. So, the previous section was the Karma Kanda section, where the activities are done and they get certain results, or if they choose a particular option, then they get this result. If they choose that particular option, they will get another result. And in Arjun's case, it would be to going to heavenly kingdom or winning the kingdom and enjoying. The result was told by Krishna. But from this verse, 38th verse onwards, Krishna in the 38th verse, he speaks about not Karma Kanda, but Nishkama Karma Yoga, where he is saying, you don't think about the consequence. You don't think about the result, what you're going to get. But do your fighting or do your duty or do thou fight for the sake of fighting. That means you just do your duty for doing a duty. And don't have any attachment to the result. And if you act like that, you are not going to incur any sin. Now, Prabhupada explains in the purport, now directly Krishna is telling to Arjun that you have to fight. You have to fight for the sake of fighting. And because Krishna desires him to fight, it is the will of Krishna. And then he doesn't have to think about victory, loss, happiness, distress or anything else, because this activity is the duty of Arjun, and in this case it is the will of Krishna. And when acts as a matter of duty, and whatever negative or positive is there in that duty, in that course of action, he will not be afflicted by that sin because he was doing his duty. You know, there may be like Brahmanas doing sacrifice. Sometimes animal sacrifice also a Brahmana has to do. That's a part of his duty. So But that doesn't mean that he will incur sin. In the doing of your duty, in the course of doing your duty, if anything happens which is inappropriate also, still the person may not incur that much of sin as he will incur if he abandons the duty. And then one more line Prabhupada mentions, that everything should be performed for the sake of Krishna in transcendental consciousness. And then only there will be no negative reactions or any reactions of material activities. So this is actually Buddhi Yoga, which Krishna will discuss in the coming verses. And then if anybody acts only for their sense gratification, either in Shuddha Sattva or in Rajoguna or in, he is going to be subject to good or bad. And if he acts in ignorance, then mostly he will be subject to negative reactions. And Nishkama Karma Yoga, what Krishna is speaking about here, is that he has no attachment whatsoever for the result of what he is doing. He is just doing his duty. And the next step is he will surrender completely to Krishna, and then he is no longer obliged to do any duty towards anybody else. And that is the verse which is mentioned, Devarishi Bhutaptan Rinam Pitranam Na Kinkaro Nayam Rini Charajan Sarvatmana Yaha Sharanam Sharanyam Gato Mukundam Parihritya Kartam. This is from Bhagavatam, where the verse says that anyone who has completely surrendered unto Krishna, Mukunda, giving up all other duties, is no longer a debtor, nor is he obliged to anyone, nor the demigods, nor the sages, nor the people in general, nor kinsmen, nor humanity, nor forefathers. Actually, each and every person who is there, a human, he is obliged. He is indebted to devatas, rishis, other bhutas. Aptas means your relatives, nrinan, other humanity, and pitranam. So these, everybody is indebted to these 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 of them. So, but if one has surrendered to Krishna completely, he is not obliged to anyone. So, that is the indirect hint given by Krishna to Arjun in this verse. And then, of course, why? Because Arjun was thinking that I am going to kill my relatives. And the reactions of this war is going to be very severe, where I will destroy the entire family dynasty. I will destroy the family traditions. There will be unwanted progeny and population. Basically, I will be the cause of degrading this human society. But Krishna is saying, if you are surrendered to me and you are doing your duty without any attachment to the results, then you have no obligation to even devatas, rishis, people, humanity, forefathers, no one. Because he is now surrendered to the Lord. He has only one duty, that is to act on the will of the Lord and please the Lord, serve the Lord. Whoever surrenders to the Lord completely, they have no other obligation to fulfill in this material world. But still, Krishna later tells that, one person who is in the position of authority or a leader, he has to do the duty so that he sets the right example. That we will discuss when that shloka comes. Yad yad acharati shreshtas. Now we have discussed this verse which is about Nishkama Karma Yoga. Do your duty without any attachment to results. Now, what is the practical or application of this verse, or how do we apply this in our day-to-day lives? Yes.
Whatever duty we do,
yes,
keep Krishna in the center and dedicate that to the Lord.
Okay.
Mataji, do your duty without thinking of the results.
Okay.
Mataji, it is we bring up our children, but we never expect any payback from that. It is our duty to bring them up.
Okay. And you are now detached that whatever they do, you are not at all concerned about it, Mataji?
I won't say I'm detached, but
Yeah.
to some extent, I don't
can
expect
practice.
anything in return from them.
We can practice.
I do my, yeah.
Yes. Yes. Then anybody else?
Detachment is really difficult, Mataji. But
Yeah.
we have to practice only.
Yes.
Whatever we do, we should first think that we should not have any attachment towards the result.
Okay.
But we have to practice only. But automatically it comes, the expectation is coming.
Yes. So yeah, automatically the expectations are there. So the thing is that
To act selflessly, Mataji.
yeah, act selflessly. Okay. Anybody else?
Hare Mataji.
Yeah,
I think we have to do the work keeping in mind Bhagwan, and then we should give full effort, and whatever the result comes, we should take it as Bhagwan's mercy.
Okay. Okay.
We should do without any expectation.
Okay. Yeah.
To remove the ego.
Remove the ego. Okay. Okay. So now, see, the thing is, in the previous verse, the approach was, Krishna spoke about Karma Kanda. The approach was, what will you get? Because Arjun said, I will incur sin. I will be stricken by sorrow. If I kill all my relatives, there will be nobody with whom I will enjoy. What is the point of enjoyment? So if you see the thinking, if I do this particular activity, or if I, participate in this battle, I'm either going to lose, or even if I win, I'm not going to be happy. So this was like, it was driven by a thought that what will I get out of it? But 2.38 verse shifts that thought, and it says, what is my responsibility right now? So if you see, the focus has simply changed from the outcome to the action. So now the focus is on the right action. And if you see in the previous shlokas, whatever reasons Arjun gave, it was having fear in it. It was having fear. It was like, Arjun was scared that he's going to kill his kinsman. And then he was thinking that even if I win a battle, I know none of my relatives will be there. And also, he was scared that he's going to get sin because he's going to kill all the elderlies or the respectable people in the Kaurava side. So his thoughts were filled with fear. But when you come to 2.38, Krishna has told that you just do your duty. There is no question of fear at all in that. But when it comes to the older approach, what Arjun was taking, it was filled with some kind of pity, compassion for others, self-pity for himself also, that why I should participate in it better. He was in complete confusion. And then he was like, it's better. Maybe I don't know what is good for me. Maybe I'll go begging, or maybe they can kill me, or I will kill them. And there was this pride also in Arjun that I am the one who will be responsible for the outcome of this battle. Actually, any action a jiva does, he is not the only person responsible for this. Because the jiva may act, he may have the desire, or he may perform his act, but the result is also the outcome. Whatever the outcome comes, it's also because of the permission of the Supreme Lord. So Arjun alone is not responsible for this battle. But when 2.38 verse, if you look at, it is the verse where Krishna is instructed that you maintain your calm and peace through whatever up and down is going on. So it's like, internally, if a person can control his emotions, his thoughts, then automatically the action which he is going to take, or the act what he is going to do, will be proper. Plus, what happens is, when one is emotionally disturbed, he loses his focus, and whatever little he can do also, in the execution it will go away, because you are not stable in mind. And first and foremost is, if we focus on the consequence, automatically we will be nervous, we will be scared. What if I don't get that result? What if I fail? So this will actually drain us of that energy. Instead, by maintaining inner calm and peace and shifting our focus to executing our duty perfectly, we will of course do our duty well, and once we are detached with the outcome, nothing will disturb us. So in this, when we go to the next shloka, Krishna will further explain how do we use this knowledge and wisdom and put it into active practice. So this particular verse has started giving us the practical application of Bhagavad Gita. Sankhya Yoga gave us the knowledge of body and spirit. Then Krishna starts discussing the Karma Kanda portion, what is the result you will get by acting in this particular way. But from 2.38 verse, Krishna will give us practically applying that wisdom. And this is one such verse where he's saying, just do your duty unaffected by the consequence. And in the process of doing your duty, whatever ups and downs come, you just tolerate. That Krishna mentioned in the very 14 verse itself, that you have to tolerate and go on doing your duty. So if you think deeply, see, if your mind is completely... Vishwanathan Prabhu, you can switch off the mic. Vishwanathan Prabhu, your mic is on. I think it is still on. Yeah. So if you just see, this particular verse very clearly explains that if you are composed and calm in whatever situations, you can focus better, do your duty undisturbed. Yes. Anybody else wants to add any points to it? And see, it's like every day we are reading Gita. So then we have to deeply contemplate on this and try to apply to our day-to-day lives. Yes, Ram Prabhu, you are saying something?
Yes, Mataji. We do our duty without thinking of results.
Yeah.
Whether the results will be good or bad.
Yes.
We will not get sin.
Yes.
We will not get sin.
Yes.
So, while doing our work, we should not think of anything and do our duty, because it is our duty. We have to do it, and thereby will not get sin.
Correct. Correct.
Mataji,
yes.
In this verse, the last portion about Bhagavatam, there is one sloka, no?
Yes.
Like, just leave your duties and surrender to Krishna.
Yes.
Everyone has family and we have to take care of the family.
Correct.
Like, we just guide our children, we have to do for our husband, for
Yes.
our elders. So, even elders means even 90 years, 100 years they are living, means we have to take care. So, how could we leave the duty? We will pray the God, Lord Krishna, everything is okay. But can we leave the duty and come away and just...
Mataji, it has never, Krishna and the entire Bhagavad Gita never speaks about giving up your duty if you are still in the Grahastha ashram.
Okay.
So entirely giving up the duty is for a pure devotee who is now completely detached from all relations.
Okay.
And in your case scenario, as you are saying that you have people to take care and elders to take care, that means you have now to do the duty towards them. But what you have to practice in this scenario is internally develop detachment, externally perform all your duties well. If they have to be taken care, they have to be cooked and served, you have to take them to hospital, just do it. Don't develop, or rather try to detach from the people. Do the action like you do for any third person, outside person. Do it, forget it, then internally you focus on Krishna.
Okay.
This particular verse, if you see, Mirabai was an exalted devotee of the Lord. But when she was at home with her husband and her family, she was doing all the duties required. But internally, she was absorbed in Krishna. And after a point, when the family kind of asks her to leave the palace, and she's wandering around like a mendicant, then she completely absorbed herself. So for such a person, she need not do any other familial duties, Mataji. She was not required to do any more duty because she was always absorbed in the Lord. But when she was at home, she was doing externally all the duties for her husband and family, but internally absorbed in Krishna. Is this clear, Mataji?
Yes, Mataji, it's clear. Thank you.
Mataji, one more thing I want to tell.
Yeah.
We have to trust in Krishna when you are doing all duties and whatever the activities may be. When we are expecting the results and all, we have to trust in Krishna. Then only we can be positively, we can do it. Yeah.
Yes. Mataji, trust means more and more deeper faith in him, that whatever he has given is for our blessing. Whatever he is not giving, you also take it as a blessing.
Yes. Yes.
It's like, you know, we say sometimes that Krishna is not answering my prayer. When he is not answering also, it is an answer that he doesn't want to give you, and that is also a benediction for you.
Yes, we have to accept it.
That's it. Yeah, if you accept, then you will not be disturbed.
High level maturity is needed, Mataji.
Mataji, more than maturity, you just develop that faith in him, you develop that bhakti, devotion towards Krishna, then automatically...
Faith will be there. Mataji, faith will be there, bhakti will be there, everything will be there. Suddenly we will be tied up with Maya Sakti.
Mataji, when your bhakti becomes deep, then Maya cannot hold you, Mataji. Krishna himself says, if your bhakti is strong, Maya cannot do anything. So somewhere, our bhakti is still to develop to the point that you have no more confusion and Maya cannot disturb you.
We have to be present in Krishna conscious.
That's
Thank you, Mataji.
Yes.
Mataji, this is Nishtama Karma Yoga means you have to become desireless, isn't it, Mataji?
Desireless for all material gains or material benefits.
And you should be more inclined towards Shravanam and Kirtanam, which will pave your path towards Krishna's Prabhu, isn't it?
Yeah. Mataji, then what the meaning is that you develop, you incline yourself or you align yourself more with the spiritual activities, so that automatically your material activities, material distractions will reduce. See, when you come to the later chapters of Gita, mind is always restless. The jiva cannot sit silent. It has to do something or the other. So instead of stopping any activity, you engage your mind in something else. That is, you engage your mind in Krishna conscious activities. Automatically, your other material activities and distractions will reduce. Whatever is essential for you to maintain your day-to-day life and your family, maintaining your day-to-day family, you have to do that.
The morning when you cook also,
one second, Lakshmi Mataji, 1 second. Sudesh Prabhu, you were trying to say something? You were saying something, Prabhu? Yeah.
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Mataji. Yes, this is a general question.
Yeah.
Can I ask, Mataji?
Yeah. Please.
Actually, one of my close relative passed away yesterday.
Yeah.
So actually, we are doing daily. We are doing offerings to Krishna and taking it, but now they told it's not 10 days. It's not do anything.
Yes.
Right? So what should I do actually?
Prabhu, you don't do the activities in your puja room, but for Shravanam there is no restriction. For Kirtanam there is no restriction. Without holding beads, you can chant the Lord's name. You can hear Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita. That is, there is no restriction for that.
Yes,
but you should not do any
offering,
activities in the offering and all you should not do, Prabhu.
Oh, you can just
puja has to be closed.
Just whatever they give.
Yeah.
Oh, correct. Yes. Okay.
That is only if they are belonging to your family. If they are belonging to your family, same Gotram you have to follow.
Yes, my brother only expired yesterday.
Then you have to follow Prabhu
and actually-
compulsorily for 11 days or 13 days. You have to follow Prabhu.
Now, can you keep a picture and do offering like that? Picture outside the thing, outside the outside altar.
No, Prabhu, what you can do is, if you really want to offer, you do Manasa offering of what you cook, Prabhu.
Okay.
You can just do Manasa
shit,
offering.
okay.
Whatever you cook, you do Manasa offering.
Not touch Tulsi also. You should not
No,
touch
don't
Tulsi also,
touch, don't do any of those activities. You just do Manasa offering.
Okay, that's good. And chanting can do with counter, no? That counter.
Yeah,
counters,
chanting
right?
you can do with counter. And then you can listen. Listening, there is no restriction. Listen to Bhagavatam, listen to Gita. That's no issue.
Yes. Thank you, Mataji. Very nice explanation. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Hare Krishna. Lakshmi Mataji, you were saying something. Sorry for the interruption.
No, Mataji. I just was telling that in the morning when you start with your chanting and then whatever prasadam you make, the food which is cooked is before offering to Krishna, it is not prasadam. Once it is offered to Krishna, it is prasadam.
It's bhoga. First it is bhoga, then it is offered, it becomes prasadam.
Yes, Mataji. So then, while you cook or whatever activities you are doing for the others at home, and that time, if you are continuously chanting, is it necessary that you should go on with the beats?
Mataji, actually, one thing is there, whole day you can chant, there is no restriction and it is advisable, but are you monitoring your mind that while you're doing other activities, are you focused on Krishna or your mind is going somewhere and your lips are just chanting the mantra? Did you observe that?
Sorry, Mataji, I want to just clear this only that I do not do loud chanting, Mataji. It goes on silently in my heart.
But are you able to meditate only on Krishna while doing the other activities?
At times, Mataji, I'm trying to concentrate.
That's why. That is why they say that first 16 rounds or whatever, if you are not chanting 16, the whatever rounds you have set for yourself for in a day, you have to sit down and chant on the beats.
Yes,
the
Mataji.
rest of the rounds are different.
That I do, Mataji. 16 rounds early, Brahma Muhurat.
That's fine. Then you can chant.
Then there is no rule that you should hold the beads and then do it. It isn't.
No.
Okay.
But why they ask you to sit and chant properly is when you quantify, only you will see how much serious progress you are making. But whole day chanting is always advisable because that is what is Krishna conscious is, that you become Krishna conscious 24/7.
Okay, Mother. Okay. That is not a this thing flaw, no? It is not a flaw. If you it is going. Okay, Mataji. Thank you, Mataji.
Yes. Anybody else has any doubts or any points to add? Otherwise, we can close.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah, those 16 rounds. You can't just a few rounds. You can't walk and chant.
Actually, Mataji, if you say that serious japa means you have to sit down either in front of the altar or Tulsi Maharani in a temple and chant. 16 rounds, if you have kind of decided to chant, then that is the procedure, Mataji. But if you feel that it is like difficult for you to sit in a place for 16 rounds, then maybe you can walk, but then you have to observe your mind whether it is focusing on Krishna.
Yes. Mataji, because in Mayapur I saw as soon as the chanting started, after a few rounds, most of them, they got up, the devotees, and they used to walk and chant.
Yeah, because they feel sleepy, because they're getting up at 4:30 in the morning. Because to avoid that sleep, they start walking. But japa is something, the first and the foremost recommended process is to sit and chant properly.
Okay,
that is the second level. That is the second level. You can walk and chant, but you see that you focus on Krishna, Mataji.
Yeah, okay, Mataji. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Sorry to interrupt. Mataji, one personal question. Mataji, at what age did you get into Krishna consciousness?
Mataji, I got in quite late. I think I was in late 30s when I got into Krishna consciousness.
Okay, Mataji. I'm too late, Mataji. That's why I'm inspired by you people. So I feel that you're all great.
No. I also got in late, only in middle age.
To come into the association of such devotees is itself a blessing.
So Mataji, that don't think about the time. It's nothing called late. Because you are an eternal soul in a long journey. So at whatever time you have got Krishna conscious, you are right in time, Mataji. Don't think about that.
But Mataji, you feel somewhat left out, Mataji.
No. Now that you have got it, take it up seriously, Mataji. And Krishna is just seeing the sincerity and seriousness. He is not seeing whether you have got it as a child or you have got it as an adult. He is just seeing your bhava, whatever you are doing. For him, he'll be more than pleased. See, it's not that I got it early, maybe in 20s, but my practice may not have improved or my sadhana may not have been better. You would have taken it up late, but you are very serious and you're sincere. Krishna is just seeing the sincerity, Mataji. He's seeing the bhava.
Okay, Mataji. Thank you so much, Mataji.
Yes.
Really blessed to be in your association, Mataji.
Mataji, it is the mercy of Srila Prabhupada who started this Bhakti Vrikshas, and he was preaching, he translated books which we are able to share.
I'm really thankful to Corona, Mataji, because of it only online classes started and we could get connected, Mataji.
That is very true. That is a blessing. That is a blessing, actually.
Otherwise, we would have not come together. I have not seen you personally. I have not seen so many devotees personally, but there is a bonding. I mean, it has become a bonding now. You crave for it. I mean, that is today you're going to have a class means something happens to you, you want to sit free at that time and listen whatever it is.
Correct.
So that's why I feel that sometimes I'm left out and it has been late for me.
No, it's okay, Mataji. At whatever time, at whichever point you got, that is the right time for you to start, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you.
Yes. We can close the session now. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Gurudev ki jai. Vancha kalpatarubhyam
कृपा सिंधुदय पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय all glory to the self-centered devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Dandavat pranam, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Dandavat pranam. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji.